Hi, good evening. I'm Reg Goslin from Improving Performance Personal Coaching. Thank you for joining me for this Career Advance and Development webinar special. I did this over on Facebook Live just now and had a little bit of a tech failure, so I'm recording it here so that I can put it on there tomorrow. Okay, let's get started. I always like to start so you can see my face, so you can see that I am a real person. I am talking to you, and it is not just a recording that's sat there. So that's me, and this is who I am. I'm going to share my screen now. Here we go. Hopefully this should work. Yes, there we go. So if I can just flip this up on here. As I said, I'm Reg Goslin from Improving Performance Personal Coaching. Generations. I work with lots of generations. And the reason I break down my client base into generations is because there are different demands made on different generations, and the different generations have different challenges in the specific workplace. I tend to work with Generation X, so they're generally people that are born around the early 1960s to around 1980. So they're just past 40 and coming into their late 50s at the moment. The baby boomers are still in the workplace, and they were born around 1940 or the mid 1940s until the early 1960s. So some of them are in their 70s and still working in the workplace, because that's the nature of the workplace at the moment. You've got the Xennials, which is a small snapshot of people who are now just about starting to be spoken about, because they were born with tech. They know all about tech. And our millennial friends. Millennials are probably the most written about generation ever, because they are diverse with their belief infrastructure. They're diverse with what they look for in terms of life, and that's why they're written about. And in the workspace, they find things, generally speaking, to be a challenge if it's not done using technology and it isn't forward thinking. And then you've got Generation Z, who are generally born around mid 1990s, and they are in the workplace now. So this is really just, I know you see it all the time, but this is just an introduction to coaching as a process. So what I do here is for people that are wanting career development, because there isn't necessarily career development in their workplace. They might not have the investment in at work to look for the development that they're looking for. So they like to look on YouTube and online to see what they can do to help them to enhance or develop their own careers. It's for people, again, that are unsure of what coaching is and are looking for a taster, or to go through it and just see what the benefits are. It's for those people that are looking for or are seeking career change. For lots and lots of reasons. They've done something for a long time, because there is a difference between careers and jobs, which I've touched on a few videos back, that they may be looking for career change. And there are people that are coming back into the working environment because they've taken time out for lots and lots of different reasons. And there are people out there that are unchallenged and need a new challenge because they're bored, or there are people that, like I said at the top of this part, that don't have necessarily the resources to be able to afford an intervention specialist. So I do this here, and I try to help people where I can. Today it's like a coaching session, so I'll ask you lots and lots of questions. You need to have a pen and paper and be somewhere quiet where you're not going to be interrupted. It's going to be one way today. And if you've got any questions, just feel free to ask them. Click the link at the bottom of this, of where you've seen it. It could be on LinkedIn, it could be on Facebook. But I tend to do a live on a Thursday as well. So look out for the live that complements this, because that's where I'll answer the questions. And it'll be on my Facebook page or my Facebook groups, Generation X and Career Advance and Development. Every session will have a topic or a focus area that I set and circulate in advance. And tonight's is an open group session. Eventually, this will be subscription. And for the reasons that I mentioned earlier on with IT issues, etc., it's not subscription processed at the moment, but that's the aim, to get it to be subscription. It's going to be it won't be any more than 40 minutes. So let's just get started. The objectives that you will have achieved by watching this 35 minutes or 30 minutes is that you will have identified an objective or a focus area in which that's in your job or your career that you actually want to progress with. You'll be able to create your own career plan, and you'll be able to use the plan to achieve the results that you're looking for achieving within your career advancement and development. And you will, as a result, you will have, you will have built your own personal development plan, Okay, I've said this lots of times to a lot of people, but a goal without an action is just a wish. So this is why intervention specialists, especially coaches, real coaches, will work with you on your idea, on your dream, on your goal, and help you to put action plans in place, which then make them more of a reality for you. So today, what I'd like you to do is, with your pen and paper, is think of an area of your life that you want to work on in the next 25, 30 minutes, where you want to improve how you are doing. Okay, it's likely to be an area of concern for you currently. Think of a general area to begin with. So don't be too specific with it. It could be something like time management, or it could be program management, or a project that you're running at work, or something that you're doing at home. Just make sure that it's an area that you want to work on. But the things that I do say, it has to be real. It must be real. It must really, really matter to you that you begin to find a way forward in that specific area. It must be something that you have control over, okay? It must be for you, not somebody else, okay? You can only be coached on what you do, not what you want somebody else to do. I would like you to write what you want to work on in one sentence, just for easy reference. So just write down in one sentence what you want to work on, and then we'll be able to refer back to that in about 15 minutes. Is that okay? I'll give you a couple of seconds to do that, which will give me a time to read what I've written down here. Oh, yeah. It could be your topic. It could be something like time management, and I want to find some more time for me. It could be getting an interview to get the job that will make me happier. So it's going to be something that's going to mean something. So just quickly write that one down. Okay. So goal. So in terms of the goal, the focus area that you're talking about, go forward in time if you can. Just imagine that you've gone forward in time, and everything in this area of your life is as you want it to be. Everything that you want in this area is as you want it to be. Okay, it's resolved. It's sorted. It's done for you. You've done it. You've succeeded. It's scoring 10 out of 10 in terms of your satisfaction in that specific area. So here's some questions for you. Yep, you're there. It's scoring 10 out of 10. You're happy as hell. What do you see happening that shows that this issue is resolved? What do you see happening? I'm sitting there thinking about it myself. What are you doing which shows you've achieved what you wanted? What are you doing? What are other people saying, having seen that you've achieved this objective? What are you thinking now that you've achieved it? What are you feeling? What are the benefits that you've experienced having achieved this? What would have happened if you had not done anything at all? You've gone forward 3-4 years and you didn't do it. How do you feel? What would have happened had you done nothing at all? What impact has this had on other areas of your life, of your career, of your job? What impact has it had? List all of the different parts that you've needed to resolve in order to get to that 10 out of 10. Yep, list all of the parts, all of the areas. Which one aspect of this, which one specific area is the most important for you to address now that you've got this area written down? Which area is the most important for you to address? And what made you choose that one? Okay, so on a scale of 1 to 10, where 10 is everything in this particular area is as you'd want it to be. 10 is where you want it to be, and 1 is I haven't really thought about it yet. Where are you now on that scale of 1 to 10? 10 is perfect. 1 is I haven't even thought about it. Where are you now? How will you know if you were one step closer? How will you know if you were one step closer? And be really, really specific, you know. So if you want to go from a 4, go to a 4 from a 3, how will you know that you've gone to that 4? If you wrote down a 7, how do you know what will have happened to have made you go to an 8? Okay. Where are you now with this? Where are you now? When can you achieve this first step by? When can you achieve it by? It needs to take you towards your 10 out of 10, you know, for the overall general issue that I've mentioned. It needs to take you there. So it's going to be something that might take 2 to 3 weeks. It may be shorter, but definitely no longer, because we tend to lose focus and attention if we spend longer than 2 or 3 weeks. So can you write this down as an outcome, but as if you've already achieved it? Okay, so write it down as if you've already achieved it. I am, I have to, I do, I will. So it could be something like I weigh and I weigh X amount and I'm going to weigh Y amount. I'm using my bike for 20 minutes 3 times a week. Something specific, okay? Make sure it's written down in the positive. I want to, not I don't want to. So be specific with that, okay? And how are you going to measure it? How are you going to measure it? Like all goals, remember, and all action plans, it has to be SMART. Specific, measurable, action planned, result orientated, and time bound. There are other words for that acronym, but it needs to be SMART, okay? So how are you going to measure it? And if you're thinking that this is impossible or it's too big or it's too challenging for you, how can you break it into something to achieve in the shorter term? Excuse me. I'll leave you to write those notes. If you're already bored by this goal, you need to beef it up a bit. You need to do something to make it a little meatier. Okay, so check that you're working on something where you have control of how it's going to go, what the outcome's going to be. You're going to have control of how it's going to outcome. If you want a team member or a colleague or something to do more, you can be coached on more than you can be coached on. What could you do to improve it? Because you can't be coached on what they do. It's got to be on what you do, as I mentioned earlier on. So think about what you want to achieve by the end of this session. We've got 15 to 20 minutes to work together so that you can go away with a first step or a strategy or a plan or something that you can take away that is tangible, that's going to help you to achieve. So at the moment, you should be, let's see what I've scribbled down here. You should be clear about your topic. You should also know what finished will look like when you resolve this actual area. And you've got a clear goal for progress in one aspect of what good looks like. And you should have a clear goal for this specific coaching session. Yeah. So where are you now? When can you achieve this? Okay. So what makes this an issue now? Okay. What makes this an issue now for you? What is happening that tells you that this is an issue for you? What's going on that is causing you the concern? What's missing that you want? What's missing that you want? And be precise. Be precise. Describe the things that are missing in detail. Yeah. I would imagine that this might take a while. You might want to pause just so you can write these things down, or it might be that you come back and look at this afterwards. But describe the things that are missing in detail. And what is good that you want to keep because it's contributing to the goal that you have? What is it that you want to keep? What are you doing right? What good habits have you got in this area? What's working? Think about the things that you've tried already to improve. Yeah, for those things that were successful, if you can think back, you know, everybody has a skill, everybody has an experience, and you might have done something like this before. So even if it's for a short time, what did you do? What exactly did you do? In what ways did you do it? When did you do it? How did you do it? What were you thinking at the time that you were doing it? And what kept you going? What do you think made it work? What was the most important thing here of doing it? To turn that around, what was unsuccessful? What didn't work for you? Okay, what didn't work? When did it go wrong? Do you have any views of why it went wrong? What do you think might have contributed to it not working? What contributed to the setback? What was the first thing that triggered the setback? This is all about learning what's worked before and then using it moving forward. This is why I asked those questions about what have you tried before. We've all looked at things and we call it experience, but we don't always go back and look at the detail. So that's why I'm asking you to go back and look at the detail. So on reflection, what might have made the biggest difference and made you successful? What might have made the biggest difference and made you successful? What have these thoughts about your previous attempts taught you that you could use moving forward? We've talked about looking back and moving it forward. So what could you use moving forward? What have you learned about yourself? Okay, and what obstacles are there in front of you now? What do you think might prevent you or hinder you from moving forward? Is there a major obstacle? And if there is, what is that major obstacle? In what way is it an obstacle? What exactly is it about the obstacle that gets in the way? Move away from things like generalizations, like it's like time, or if it's time, how much time are we talking about there? Be specific. If it's your manager at work, what is it about your manager that gets in the way? If it's your partner, what is it about the partner that gets in your way? What is it that they're doing that is stopping you? Don't let yourself get away with big general statements. Get into the detail to understand what the obstacle is. Have you tried to negotiate similar barriers in the past? If you did, what worked? What was successful? What did you learn? What did you learn that you could transfer and move across today? What still needs to be tackled to overcome this? These are all great things that we're trying to help you with there. But we come to a summary in a second. What skills and strengths? I mentioned those just now. We've all got skills, we've all got strengths that we've learned, and we call it experience. So what skills and strengths or resources have you got that you could use here to help you to resolve or get over this obstacle? What skills have you got from work, from home, from your domestic or leisure activities that could work here that would be relevant? What support do you have that will be important? Okay, so let's summarize here. You have an issue, you know what's going on, and you've highlighted what needs to be done. Okay, you know what's going on and what's not going on for you now. You've highlighted what you've done about it so far and what success you've had, and you've thought about possible obstacles that are going to be in your way. You're now able to think about moving forward because you've looked at what it is, you've looked at the obstacles, you've looked at what's worked for you before. So let's try and put all this into the positive and see what we can do moving forward. Okay? Okay, so thinking about your options, what could you do, not what will you do, but what could you do to move forward? And this is not the stage where you can start selecting one or two options to do to move forward, but this is designed to help you to generate as many ideas as you possibly can on the way forward. So let's brainstorm as many as we can here, okay? What could you do? What ideas do you have that might move you one step closer to your goal? And let the ideas flow. Don't edit them. Just scribble them down. There are no wrong answers here. This is what brainstorming is. What could you do that'll take you one step closer to achieving the goal that you want to achieve? What ideas do you have? Come on, let's get those creative juices. Think outside of the box. Okay? What could you do if you weren't answerable to anyone? What could you do if resources were unlimited? What could you do if you didn't have to live with the consequences, what could you do? What could you do if you totally believed in yourself? If you went to, you're going to have a role model, aren't you? Everybody has a role model. It could be a role model, a real role model. It could be a family friend or a mentor or a boss or a manager or a colleague. Or it could be a television character. That's entirely up to you. But if you went to them and you went to them with this problem, what would they tell you to do? If you went to your boss or your friend, what would they tell you to do? If one of your friends came to you with this problem and they were looking for ideas, what would you suggest that they do? Refer back to the stuff we were talking about, the reality check that we did on where you were at the moment. Review what you tried and learned. Remember, we talked about the skills and the strengths that you had. How would you apply them now? How would you take them from historic activity and lend them towards the plan that you want to achieve now? What could you take from there to bring forward? Think about where good ideas went wrong. That's what we were talking about. Where did good ideas go wrong? Think about when things didn't go to plan. What new ideas does that generate for you? Okay. So what do you need to do now to make sure you achieve what you wanted from this session? That's why the way forward, I left it there. That's going to be the way forward. What do you need to do now to make sure that you achieve what you want? What else do you need to do? There's a lot of what else is. What else do you need to do? Just write it down. Once you've written that down, here's the question. What else do you need to do? And give me two more. What else do you need to do? What else could you do? Two more, just two more and I'll stop. What else could you do? Great, so you should have a list of possibilities of things that you could do, options or of things that you could do. So let's look at that list in a little bit more detail. I don't know how many you've got on there. If this were a one-to-one situation, you'd be writing them down and I'd see what you were writing down and we'd have a conversation about all of them. But time is of the essence and it's just me and thee. So you've got a list in front of you and there are lots and lots of options on there. So looking at that list, what looks right to you on that list is the next thing to do. What looks right? What feels best to you? What's jumping out at you at the moment as something that you could do? What do you think will have the biggest impact? What one thing could you do now that will take you one step closer to where you want to be? What one thing off of that list? Which is the quickest, which is the easiest, which is the most challenging, which is the most exciting? It's entirely up to you. You're the one that's picking, but pick one. And so which one are you going to commit to taking action on? And just double check with yourself. Will it help you to move forward towards the objectives, the goal that you want to achieve? How will it do it? If yes, just stay with it. Just stay with it. Okay. Right. So we need to get these ideas or actions really specific to ensure your success. So exactly what do you need to do to put those actions into practice? What are the specific action steps? Split it down into small, manageable parts. I'm just reading from my notes here. Write down all the little things that need to happen, the little tiny steps. What might stop you completing your first step? What barriers are in the way? Okay, how might you negotiate those barriers? We talked about barriers in the last bit, but we're just talking about them now. We want to make sure that nothing stops you moving forward. If there's something that could stop you doing it, what could you do to prevent it from stopping you? What could you do as an alternative? What else do you need to think about that might get in the way? What else do you need to think about that might get in the way? Okay, so regarding the actions, you've written them all down now. You've got them there. You've picked one. When are you going to do it by? When are you going to start? When are you going to start with this one thing? When are you going to start? When are you going to finish by? How strong is your commitment in achieving the one thing that you've just written down? Last time I'm going to talk about the 1 and the 10. So 1 being, I'm not going to do it, and 10, I am super, 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 super motivated to get this done because I know what the benefit to me is. I've written down why I want to do it. I've written down what I'm going to get as a result of doing this, and I'm super excited to get it done. Or 1, which is not bothered. If you've written down a 6 or a 7, what needs to happen to make it an 8 or a 9? What needs to happen to make it an 8 or a 9? What would be the benefits of taking of that action? Who else would benefit? And if you take this step and you achieve it, what will you be saying to yourself? Hey, what will you be saying to yourself once you've taken them steps and you've achieved them? What will you be saying to yourself? How will you feel? How will you reward yourself? What reward will you give yourself for taking that action and achieving it? That's what's important, I think. Okay, so you've created your career development plan. You've identified your needs. You've identified the opportunities. There is a strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats document that you can have from the website. But you are now building your own action plan, something you didn't have half an hour ago. So make sure that you execute the actions that you said that you are going to take, because that's the only way that you can move forward. And review it. Always be reviewing it. If a little way through you think, oops, this is not right, come back into this, redo this 30 minutes, and then just re-evaluate and reset yourself and reset the goal, because that's the way that you move forward. Okay, that brings this to an end. So thank you very much for joining. We're at 28 minutes, so it's not too bad. As I said before, it's for those people that are wanting career development, personal development, seeking career change. They're unchallenged. They may be coming back into the workplace, or they may not necessarily have the resources to have an intervention specialist themselves. So the next step, if that's what you wanted to do, you don't have to do this. This is always the next step that I tell people after they've gone through a group coaching exercise, because you do that after a little while, and if it works for you and you continue to do it, that's absolutely fine. This is the first time that I've done it this way. What I usually give is little nuggets, and I train on, or I do a webinar or training on one specific area of career development. But I've done it just on an open forum. So the next step for you, should you want to take it, would be one-to-one coaching on a one-to-one basis. And I have 3 packages. I've got the gold package, which is a 3 to 6 month plan. I have a silver package for 1 month, and I have the bronze ad hoc. I also do a platinum, and I am launching, if you're watching this before the 22nd of October, I am launching a program, which I'll talk to you about in a second, that is also going to be for different types of people. Okay, and it's called the Career Advanced Group Coaching Community Offer. So on top of the gold package and the silver package and the bronze package, you can have, let me just wind back again. If you want to take advantage of getting a discount, a 20% discount on the prices that I advertise on my website, just so you know that it's nothing sneaky. If you send the code IMPPRF22 October to info@improvingperformance.co.uk, I'll repeat that. If you send that code that you can see on your screen, IMPPRF22OCT, to info@improvingperformance.co.uk, you can have a conversation with me, and I'll apply a 20% discount, but that's only open until midnight on the 22nd. So 11:59 p.m. and 59 seconds, you can get 20% off of my published prices if you engage in one of the packages you just saw. Okay, so just to remind you what they were, it's the gold package, which is 3 to 6 months, the silver package, which is a 1 month plan, and the bronze package, which is an ad hoc basis. Just want one coaching session, okay, or you might just want individual coaching sessions. Okay, as I said, I'm launching tomorrow at lunchtime the Career Advance and Development Focused Action Results program, and it's complementing what I already do. It's not replacing anything, it's complementing. In my practice, I have gaps in my diary, which are there obviously because you can't work continuously for 8 to 10 hours a day, so there's going to be hours here or an hour there. So what I'm doing is opening it up for unlimited 15-minute focus sessions. So the idea is that an individual will pay a fee for a year, for 6 months or for a year, and in that time they can have as many 15-minute focus sessions that they want. So what the idea is that they will have completed their actions, they will have gone online to my page, my calendar, and booked their next session. They would have received a recording of their session and they've taken action. Once they've taken action, they go back to the beginning and they can have another unlimited 15-minute session, and it goes on like that. That's the plan. That's what I'm launching tomorrow. So there'll be more detail in another video. And if you're watching this after the 22nd of October, just click on to the launch of the Career Advance and Development Focused Action Results program. But it starts with a 30 minutes situation just to set the stage with you as an individual, because you have to be somebody that I want to work with, and I need to be somebody that you want to work with. I need to understand what the challenge that you have is and what it is you want to achieve. I need to understand what keeps you up at night if you are an employee or a manager or an entrepreneur or a business owner. What keeps you up at night? What are the results that you want that you don't want? Yeah, the results that you have that you don't want. What are they? What is your line in the sand? Where is it that you don't want to get behind? You need to move forward from. And what are your next actions? And that's where the program starts. And then we can start with the 15 minutes focus sessions. Okay, I've gone over slightly. So thank you very much for taking the time to speak with me. I'm pretty sure that there should have been a slide that said, there it is, how to engage. I've done that back to front. The next session will be on Monday, the 4th of November. And those are the different ways that you can contact Improving Performance and Reg Goslin. So you've got the Facebook groups, the Career Advance and Development, and the Generation X. And you've got the web contacts at www.improvingperformance.co.uk. You can catch me on Instagram at Improving Performance. You can catch us on Twitter at Improving Performance, and you can just put Reg Goslin or Improving Performance Personal Coaching into YouTube, and you can see lots of blog videos that I have there, because that's where I actually store them rather than on my website. Okay, so I'd like to take this opportunity to thank you for joining me for what I hope you thought was a valuable session. And as I always say at the end, it's your story. You decide how it ends. At Improving Performance, we help you to write the next page. Thank you very much for taking the time to join me.